Pretty much every Republican and everybody on Fox News, other than apparently Neil Cavuto, is full steam ahead with this thing isn't over. Donald Trump could still win. Dead people are voting, cats and dogs living together. It's chaos. But it turns out that just a couple of years ago, back in 2018, when in a couple of elections, like for instance, Stacey Abrams versus Brian Kemp, those same individuals didn't like how slow the Democrats were to concede, undercutting a few of their arguments these days. Take a look at this roundup of those comments from back in 2018 that The Daily Show put together.
Democrats are being sore losers. They refuse to acknowledge they lost the election, so what do? They cry malfeasance, wrongdoing, criminality, fraud.
Democrats, more so than Republicans, seem to have a problem conceding defeat. Either the election system broke down or some mystery votes are hiding somewhere.
You have a whole series of Democrats who've just said bluntly, if our candidate doesn't win, they stole the election.
The Dems just want to make America suffer. It's like losing the World Series and demanding an extra inning a day later.
The Democrats are refusing to accept the declared results of the national media. So how do they do this? Lo and behold, they find missing ballots.
The radical left is attacking the sanctity of our votes,
refusing to accept the midterm election results. So what if these were Republicans refusing to concede?
Democrats may see how they'll be able in the future to steal elections through lawsuits that they can't win with the voters.
Ramping up election conspiracy theories, accusing Republicans of outright stealing the election. Kind of rich. You know what? Sounds sore loserish.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I
got
love
a good production team over there.
Yeah. You know what this is like, John? And I actually like watching all this. Here's why. These guys are obviously hypocrites, but that's nothing new, okay? It's kind of fun to watch how hypocritical they are when we have these, edited versions of who they have been and what they've said. But here's why I like what's happening to Trump, because I don't believe he will retain power. I don't believe African angels are coming to save us. Paula White told them to come here. And by the way, side note, the definition of white privilege is telling angels who are taking care of children in Africa to leave Africa and help the white privileged billionaire in America. That is the definition of privilege. Okay, so I digress. Here's what's really happening. Donald Trump is a fish out of water. He's flopping around on this dry land. And every time Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, or whoever goes on national media and they say he can still win it, when one of his attorneys that's being paid to tell him, hey, let's keep this thing going, we can still win it, it splashes him with a little more water, giving him an ounce of hope that everything's going to be okay. But then he continues to flop like a fish outside of water. I want him to flop until January 20th, okay? So that's why I like what's happening.
Yeah, and I wish that sort of video like accomplished something more than just like us chuckling. That sort of hypocrisy, like it really does feel like it should mean something when you have such clear counter evidence to what they're saying these days. But of course it doesn't. Like they're not going to apologize or change what they're saying now. Their audience doesn't care because they liked what those Republicans were saying then and they like what they're saying now. And what they like is what's important, not what is true. Right. They're not interested in that. And I'm not surprised that Sean Hannity's doing it now and Laura Ingraham and Kayleigh are doing it. Like they have, even though they know, like as you said, that Trump is not going to stay as president, they have an audience who wants to still feel good. They've had this drug in their system for years. The idea that it's going to be cut off is really scary. So they're looking for someone to extend the high for a little bit. Yeah. And like I said on yesterday's show, it's not just Trump and the right now. I mean, look, I was the world's biggest Bernie Sanders supporter, but both in 2016 and 2020, at some point, there wasn't a path forward. Right. And it took some people a lot longer to acknowledge that, in part because there are people in media who want to just sort of continue that high. And they know there's an audience that wants to hear that it can still happen. That's a big part of grift. It is leading people down a path that is not founded in the facts for your own personal financial enrichment.
And what's their alternative here? You got guys like Hannity, Tucker, and others. What's the alternative? They have a significantly, primarily conservative audience, right? If they start telling that audience the truth, they will be unemployed in 2 or 3 weeks, right? Because everybody will leave them to go and listen to the guys and the gals who are saying what they want to hear. And so they have to continue to keep the narrative and keep the spin going in order to have a broadcast, period.
Yeah, it's really as simple as that. It is. And since we're libs, like we have emotions, we feel bad for people. I can look at that and feel a little bit bad that they've caught themselves in that web, but like they built it around themselves. So I'm only gonna feel a little bit bad at all.
They can take a $15 million salary and shove it. As far as I'm concerned, I feel bad for any one of them. They have created this nightmare for themselves. They're gonna have to work out what happens to their immortal soul at the end of this journey. But they have lied to the masses in order to get paid. In my neighborhood, we call that a sellout. All right, and I've seen some sellouts, and those are in fact sellouts.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.